Here's the thing about new kids. They either learn their place fast or I teach them. Ethan Cole leaned against the cafeteria doorframe, blocking the narrow passage. His varsity jacket gleamed under fluorescent lights. Behind him, 3 teammates smirked like hyenas. Kingsbridge Academy's lunch rush had quieted to a hush. Cassidy Ward stood 5 feet away, tray balanced in both hands. She wore a faded cardigan over her uniform shirt, sleeves pulled down to cover her wrists. A small compass pendant hung from a thin silver chain around her neck. Her backpack sagged with worn fabric and fraying straps. "You've been here, what, 2 weeks? Still walking around like you own the place." Cassidy's eyes flicked to the gap on Ethan's left, too narrow. Then to the right. One of his teammates had shifted to cover it. "I just want to eat lunch." "Sure. But see, there's a rule here. You want to pass through my section? You say please, Ethan." A few students pulled out phones. Not to help, to record. Cassidy's grip tightened on the tray edges. "I know the rules. The real ones, not the ones you made up." She sidestepped left. Ethan blocked her. She pivoted right. His teammate closed the gap. Cassidy stopped, standing perfectly still for 3 seconds. Her eyes tracked the corner where the security camera had a blind spot. She glanced at the clock. 11:53 a.m. Trespassing on someone's path without reason could be considered intimidation under School Code Section 4.2. "I'm not asking you to move because I'm scared. I'm asking because it's the right thing to do." The cafeteria went dead silent. Ethan's smirk froze. Cassidy turned her tray sideways and slipped through the gap before he could react. She headed toward an empty table in the far corner. Ethan stood there jaw tight. Someone whispered, "Did she just quote the student handbook?" He watched Cassidy sit down with her back to the wall. The compass pendant caught the light. His eyes narrowed. Who the hell is she? Later that afternoon, Cassidy stopped at her locker number 217. Inside, a photo of a generic bookstore was taped to the door. No family pictures except a single sticky note that read, "Stay low. Stay focused." She pulled out her phone and opened a video call. The screen stayed black, but a voice came through. Low, steady, familiar. "Report. Target confirmed," Cassidy said quietly. "Ethan Cole made contact today exactly as expected. He's used to intimidation. Doesn't handle challenges well. Did you engage?" "Only enough to establish I won't fold. Nothing that breaks cover." A pause. "Good. Remember, your job isn't to fix him. It's to observe and document. Let him escalate. We need evidence of the pattern before we move." Cassidy's chest tightened. "Dad, if he escalates too far, you stay calm, you stay smart, and you do not reveal who you are. Understood?" She closed her eyes. "Understood." The call ended. Cassidy touched the compass pendant. Her father had given it to her on her 16th birthday, 2 months before this assignment started. North always pointed the same direction. No matter how lost you felt. Behind her, 3 students rounded the corner. Ethan's crew. They didn't say anything. They just watched. Cassidy kept walking, her posture straight, her pace even. When she reached the double doors, she glanced back once. They were still staring. The next morning, Cassidy arrived at school early. By third period civics, she'd already read through 3 chapters of the textbook. She sat in the second row, notebook open. Ethan Cole strolled in 2 minutes late. Mrs. Brennan wrote on the board. "Today's discussion focuses on the Fifth Amendment, specifically the right to remain silent and the protections against unlawful detention. Can anyone tell me why this matters in modern policing?" Cassidy raised her hand slowly. "The Fifth Amendment protects citizens from self-incrimination, but it also sets a standard for law enforcement. Officers can't detain someone without probable cause. It's not just about protecting the guilty. It's about making sure power doesn't get abused. Excellent answer. Can you give an example? If an officer stops someone on the street without reasonable suspicion and searches them, anything they find can't be used in trial. The exclusionary rule prevents unlawful searches from being rewarded. It forces accountability. From the back, Ethan let out a loud sigh. Yeah, because criminals deserve protection. Cassidy turned. It's not about protecting criminals. It's about protecting everyone. If the law doesn't apply equally, it doesn't work at all. Easy to say when you've never had to deal with real danger. My dad's a lawyer. He's seen cases where guilty people walk because of technicalities like that. Then your dad knows the system is designed to prevent worse harm. A technicality that frees one guilty person also prevents 100 innocent people from being wrongfully convicted. That's the trade-off. The class went quiet. Well said, Cassidy. Ethan, do you have a counterpoint? Ethan's jaw clenched. Yeah. My counterpoint is that people who defend criminals usually have something to hide. Cassidy's fingers tightened around her pen. Or maybe they just understand the Constitution better than you do. A few students gasped. When the bell rang, Ethan lingered near the door. Cassidy packed her bag slowly. When she stood, he stepped into her path. You think you're smart? I think I know the difference between intimidation and debate. Ethan leaned in. My dad is Thomas Cole. You know who that is? A defense attorney. The best defense attorney. He's gotten senators, COs, people you've never even heard of out of charges that should have buried them. So if you're planning to make me look stupid in front of teachers, you might want to reconsider. Are you threatening me? I'm giving you advice. New kids who play smart don't last long here. He walked away. Cassidy stood in the empty classroom, then pulled out her phone. The voice recorder app had been running the entire conversation. She saved the file and labeled it Ethan Cole. Thread number 1. That night, Cassidy sat at her desk typing notes. Day 15. Ethan Cole escalating verbally. Confirmed family connections. Thomas Cole, defense attorney with political ties. Senator Olivia Cole, mother, currently under investigation for financial corruption. Ethan used his father's reputation as leverage. Recommend continued monitoring. She hit send. 3 minutes later, her phone buzzed. Stay on track. Do not engage unless necessary. Evidence first. The next week unraveled like a slow-motion car crash. On Monday, Cassidy's locker was jammed. When the janitor opened it, her textbooks were gone. In their place sat a note. Maybe you should quit while you're ahead. She reported it to the office. The secretary promised someone would look into it. No one did. On Tuesday, her school email was hacked. Someone sent a mass message to faculty. I hate this school. You're all incompetent. I'll make you pay. Cassidy was called to the principal's office. Miss Ward, this kind of language is completely unacceptable. I didn't send that email. It came from your account. Then someone hacked my account. The IT department keeps logs. The email was sent at 9:32 a.m. I was in chemistry class. Check the IP address. Principal Davidson frowned. You seem very familiar with digital forensics. I read a lot. I'll have ID look into it. But Miss Ward, you've only been here a few weeks, and already you're involved in multiple incidents. Are you sure there isn't something you want to tell me? I'm sure. And if you check the security footage, you'll see I'm not the one causing problems. Security footage can be inconclusive or conveniently ignored. By Wednesday, things got physical. Cassidy was walking down the main staircase when someone bumped her from behind hard. She stumbled forward, catching herself on the railing. Books spilled onto the steps. She turned. Ethan stood 2 steps above her, hands in his pockets. "Oh, sorry. Didn't see you there." Students flowed past like water around a stone. No one stopped. No one helped. "You know, if you're having trouble keeping your balance, maybe you should be more careful. Accidents happen." Cassidy's heart pounded. Her training kicked in. She didn't respond. She adjusted her backpack and walked past him. "Running away," Ethan called after her. She kept walking. Behind her, laughter. She turned the corner and pressed herself against the wall. Her hands were shaking. Not from fear, from restraint. She counted to 10, then sent a message, escalating to physical contact. Stairwell 11:15 a.m. witnessed by approximately 20 students. None intervened. The response came fast. Hold position. Do not retaliate. Thursday brought a new twist. Cassidy's locker was broken into again. Her books were destroyed, pages torn out, covers ripped off. Written across the inside in black marker, "Go home." She took pictures, then requested to see security footage. "I'm sorry, but security footage is only available to administration. Then I'd like to file a formal complaint." She filled out the form, citing exact time frames. She knew the footage would show Ethan or his friends. She knew administration would dismiss it, but she was building a paper trail. That afternoon, she received texts from unknown numbers. "You don't know when to quit, do you?" Screenshot. Save. Backup. Block. "My dad says people who make false accusations end up regretting it." Screenshot. Save. Backup. Block. "I'm giving you one last chance. Apologize and transfer schools, or this gets worse." Cassidy saved all 3 screenshots into a folder marked evidence. Friday arrived like a storm cloud. Cassidy knew something was coming. Ethan had been too quiet. At lunch, she grabbed her tray and scanned the cafeteria. Ethan sat at his usual table. He saw her and smiled. Not friendly. The smile of someone who'd planned something. Cassidy chose a seat in the far corner, back to the wall, phone on the table, recorder running. Then Ethan stood up. He walked toward her. His friends followed. The noise level dropped. "Hey, scholarship girl. We need to talk." "About what?" "About the fact that you've been lying to everyone, telling people I'm harassing you." "I haven't lied about anything." "Really? Because I've got texts here that say otherwise." He turned his phone toward the crowd. "That's not real," Cassidy said. "Sure it's not." Ethan stepped closer. "You know what I think? I think you're jealous. You come from nothing, and you can't stand that some people actually have success." Cassidy stood slowly. "I think you're scared." Ethan's smirk faltered. "Scared of what?" "Scared that someone finally called you out. Scared that your dad's reputation won't protect you forever." The cafeteria went silent. Ethan's face flushed red. For a second, Cassidy thought he might hit her. But instead, he grabbed his lunch tray and took a deliberate step forward. Then he stumbled badly, theatrically, and let the tray fly. Food splattered everywhere. He fell backward, landing hard. The crowd gasped. "She pushed me. She attacked me." Cassidy froze. Her tray was still on the table. She hadn't moved. But Ethan's friends were already recording from angles that made it look like she'd been standing over him. "She grabbed my collar," Ethan shouted. "She shoved me down." "That's not true," Cassidy said. No one was listening. Ethan pulled out his phone and dialed. 911. "What's your emergency?" "There's a girl here attacking students. She just assaulted me in the cafeteria. I think she's on something. She's out of control." Cassidy's blood went cold. The entire cafeteria stared at her. No one said that's not what happened. They just stood there, phones raised. Sir, what's your location? Kingsbridge Academy, main cafeteria. Please hurry. Ethan hung up. Hope you got a good lawyer because you're about to need one. 10 minutes passed like hours. Then sirens. 2 police cruisers pulled up outside. Cassidy's stomach dropped. The doors swung open. 2 officers walked in, one older with gray hair, the other younger. They approached Ethan first. You made the call? Yes, officer. That girl attacked me. The younger officer turned toward Cassidy. Miss, stay where you are. I understand. Can I ask what I'm being charged with? The officer paused. Most teenagers didn't ask procedural questions. We're investigating an assault complaint. Who filed it? What witnesses have you spoken to? Have you reviewed security cameras? The older officer studied her carefully, then noticed the compass pendant. He recognized that symbol. FBI Academy families sometimes wore them. What's your name? Cassidy Ward. The name triggered something. Your father's name. Cassidy calculated the risk. She made her choice. Jonathan Ward. FBI Director Jonathan Ward. The cafeteria erupted in whispers. Ethan's expression wavered. The older officer pulled out his radio. Dispatch, I need a family database check. Cassidy Ward, age 16. 30 seconds of static. Unit 7. That name is flagged. Family member of a federal official. Do not detain without supervisor approval. Ethan stepped forward. She's lying. Her file says her parents run a bookstore. The older officer held up a hand. Before anyone gets detained, we're reviewing the footage. But before anyone could move, Ethan made his final mistake. He turned back to Cassidy, face flushed. You think hiding behind your daddy will save you? He lunged forward and grabbed her collar with both hands. I'm not done with you. For 3 weeks, Cassidy had absorbed every insult, every threat. But now her body moved on instinct. Her right hand shot up, fingers closing around Ethan's wrist. She rotated her grip, applying pressure. Ethan's fingers opened reflexively. He tried to pull back, but she'd already shifted her weight. When he yanked away, she used his momentum. She sidestepped left. As Ethan stumbled forward, she turned her shoulder into his path. Not a strike, just a redirect. His own force carried him past her. He went down hard. The room went dead silent. Then it exploded. Holy cow! Did you see that? She just dropped him. Ethan lay on the floor stunned. The younger officer moved forward. Miss, step back. Hands where I can see them. Cassidy raised both hands. He grabbed me first. I defended myself. Minimum necessary force. No strikes. Just a wrist release and a sidestep. That's self-defense, not assault. The older officer looked at Ethan. Son, did you grab her? Silence. Ethan's face went white. We need that footage. Now! 20 minutes later, they sat in the principal's office. The monitor showed 4 camera feeds. Ethan approaching Cassidy's table. Ethan grabbing his own tray and deliberately falling. Then the second incident. Ethan lunging, grabbing Cassidy's collar, yanking her forward. Cassidy's response. The wrist lock, the sidestep, the redirect. Ethan falling. Mr. Cole, you called 911 and reported an assault that didn't happen. That's filing a false police report. Then you grabbed Miss Ward on camera. That's battery. Miss Ward, you have the right to press charges. Cassidy looked at Principal Davidson. I want a formal hearing on the record with legal representation present. I want every incident from the past 3 weeks documented and reviewed. The hearing convened 3 days later. Thomas Cole arrived with a briefcase. He wore a suit that cost more than most teachers made in a month. Then Senator Olivia Cole entered. Every head turned. Thomas continued. My client has been subjected to systematic harassment. We have reason to believe Miss Ward is not who she claims to be. So I'll ask directly, who sent you here? The door opened again. Jonathan Ward walked in wearing a dark suit. His FBI badge hung from a lanyard. Recognition rippled through the room. He sat next to Cassidy. I can answer your question, Senator Cole. Olivia's composure cracked. Thomas's smile disappeared. Jonathan looked directly at Olivia. You asked who my daughter is. She's exactly what her enrollment documents say. But yes, she's been assisting with an ongoing federal investigation. An investigation into what? Financial irregularities at this institution. Suspicious connections between faculty and political figures. Your family's name appeared multiple times. Olivia stood abruptly. This is entrapment. Cassidy enrolled as a regular student. She didn't target your son, he targeted her. When he escalated to filing a false police report and physically grabbed her, he committed federal offenses. My son made a mistake. One mistake. You can't destroy a teenager's future over one bad decision. Jonathan pulled out a thick folder. Your son made multiple decisions. He slid it across the table. Every complaint Cassidy filed that was ignored. Every threatening text. Every piece of vandalism. And finally battery on camera. All documented, all admissible. Thomas opened the folder. His face went pale. Your son tried to have my daughter arrested on false charges. Do you understand what that means? If those officers had handcuffed her without checking, months of work would have been compromised. All because your son couldn't handle being challenged. Cassidy spoke. When I was 12, I watched my father interrogate a man who'd been falsely accused. When officers tried to arrest him, he fought back. That resistance was used against him in court. He spent 2 years in prison before evidence cleared him. My father taught me 2 things. First, self-defense is a right, but only when you have no other choice. Second, the system punishes people who appear aggressive, even when they're victims. So, when Ethan started harassing me, I made a choice. I documented everything. I let him escalate. I waited until he committed crimes I could prove. If I'd fought back on day 1, people would call me violent. But if I waited until he crossed legal lines, the evidence would speak for itself. That day in the cafeteria, when he grabbed my collar, I defended myself with minimum necessary force. 1 wrist lock. 1 redirect. Not enough to be painted as the aggressor. I endured 3 weeks of harassment because I knew patience would trap him better than my fists ever could. I let him think he had power. I let him make mistakes, and when he finally went too far, the whole thing collapsed on him. Not because I'm the FBI director's daughter, because he chose to break the law and I chose to document it. The room stayed silent. Jonathan stood. We're filing federal charges. False reporting, harassment, battery, obstruction of a federal investigation. The trial took 2 weeks. Cassidy testified for 3 hours. The verdict came quickly. Ethan was found guilty on all counts. He received 12 months probation, 200 hours community service, and mandatory counseling. Thomas Cole's law license was suspended. Senator Olivia Cole's political career crumbled within weeks. A week after the verdict, Cassidy found Ethan outside the library. His varsity jacket was gone. Can we talk? They found an empty classroom. You won. Happy now? No, I'm not happy. I'm tired. My life is over. You didn't work for it. It was handed to you, and when someone challenged you, you tried to destroy them. I know I was wrong, but I can't undo it. That day in the cafeteria, if I wasn't the FBI director's daughter, you would have done the same thing. Maybe worse. The problem isn't who I am. The problem is who you chose to be. Tears ran down Ethan's face. I don't know how to fix this. Start by being honest. Stop hiding behind your parents' power. You have a chance to become someone better. Don't waste it. In the hallway, Jonathan was waiting. How are you holding up? Tired, but okay. They walked toward the exit. Do you regret it? Cassidy thought about the fear, the isolation, the nights lying awake. No, I just wish next time a kid stands alone like that, someone will step up before it goes this far. Then we'll make sure they do. They pushed through the front doors. Jonathan's phone buzzed. Email from Senator Morrison's office. He's requesting a meeting about expanding the Kingsbridge investigation. Cassidy raised her eyebrows. Expanding how? He chairs the Education Committee. If he's interested, this could go much further. They reached Jonathan's car. Cassidy paused, looking back at the school. Let's find out. They drove away as the sun began its descent. Behind them, Kingsbridge Academy faded. But ahead, another conversation was waiting. Another layer of investigation ready to unfold. Another chance to prove that justice wasn't reserved for those with badges. It belonged to anyone brave enough to demand it.